What's up, guys? Back here working on the K1 Attack. This time around, I'm, like I talked about last time, I'm gonna kind of mess around with the, messing with the windshield surround and the fitment between that and the doors, because that is somewhat of an issue, and I already knew it. So we're gonna play around that, see if we can get that to clear. Maybe get the windshield surround mounted so I actually know where it's supposed to be. Past that, I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure out what we're gonna do. But let's get to it. Okay, I got 2 nut certs in there. Just put some screws in there for temporary. I'm gonna find some better looking hardware in the future. That just works for now. And I cut these out, and now it like clears really good. There's plenty of room in there. I can get it to go down pretty far. So I think, yeah, that's gonna work. It actually made it a lot easier to get the frame in and out too, because it was contacting that so hard. So now I need to try to figure out where I'm gonna mount 2 screws in here to get this thing really up against the windshield so that it's permanently mounted, so then I can start working on trimming the hood. Okay, I've been doing a whole bunch of grinding this fiberglass. As you can see, I'm freaking covered in it. Basically, right now, right up in here, it's probably gonna be hard to see, but basically the hinge is hitting like right in here. So I've been grinding this fiberglass. It's like above it, so that it doesn't contact this. It's getting pretty close. I've probably taken it off 5 or 6 times now. I gotta take it off one more time, so I gotta grind the corner a little bit, and then I should be there. Hopefully not one more time, but maybe. And then I can finally drill the holes in the side of here. But at the moment, it clears a lot better. Earlier, like the passenger door, like it was hitting the A-pillar really hard, like when you try to open it. Now it actually clears. This side actually clears too, with the exception of like right in this corner right here. So I think I'm gonna grind this off too while I have the windshield frame back off. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, that was a lot of dicking around, a lot of cutting and stuff. You can see how much I ended up having to cut to get that hinge to actually clear. The door's open. This side, it's definitely, I'm gonna have to shave down a little bit more. I actually took this whole corner off right here on the inside. I'm gonna have to shave some more back in here, because it's just like, if you have the door at the wrong angle, it'll hit right here. The other side, it actually clears really good. I think I'm gonna shave it just a little bit. One, I'm gonna take that corner off to match the other side, but then also shave it, just give it a little bit more clearance, but it fits pretty good over here. Same thing, same amount cut. I clamped these down. These things kind of push out until you have them clamped, and then the windshield tries to raise up, so I kind of push it down and then in, clamped it. So now I'm going to drill 2 holes, and then I'll take the windshield, surround back off, and I'll put some nut certs in there so we can get this thing attached for good. Yeah, well, not for good. Obviously, I still gotta paint it and everything else, but for now, good. All right, got that all bolted down, squared up pretty good. It'd be nice if I could come like this way with the frame a little bit, but I can't because it's already too close here. Even if, like, I grind it down some and it's still like if you have it in just the right position, it'll hit, but it's pretty close. I mean, you can see it's not hitting like this, but if I kind of push in on the door a little bit, it'll contact just a smidge. So there might be a little bit more trimming to do. Plus, I mean, once I have the gas shock back on, which I guess I could do that real quick, but it might not contact, but at the same time, if anybody wiggles the door, it could. The other side, on the other hand, is got tons of room. It's not even close to hitting, but and you would think that it would make sense to just move the frame this way, but this one is already, I had to push in on this so hard to get these screws to go in. So it's like really tweaking this frame. You can see it's sticking up just a little bit. I mean, it's sticking up a little bit more on this passenger side than it is on the driver's side, but it's not awful. I think it'll still work. I mean, once I have once I put, the window urethane on there, like you won't even notice because it'll be all filled in. But yeah, the hood fits a little bit better now, obviously, because these are pushed in to where they need to be. There's still a pretty big gap. Most K1 attacks you see online have a pretty big gap here, so it's kind of not surprising. I mean, there's already a pretty big gap here, so it's not that big of a deal. But like I talked about before, I'm still going to grind this out and try to get this to come down a little bit closer because I want to close that gap up as much as I can. Yeah, but I mean, for the moment, that's looking pretty good. That windshield it's in there square, everything's tightened up, and the doors are opening and closing. We're making progress, guys. It's fucking awesome. Okay, so I did a little bit more grinding here on the door. Obviously, it's a pretty rough cut. It's gonna have to get smoothed out at some point, but I mean, realistically, it's working pretty good. I got pretty good clearance now. Like, even if I push in on the door and kind of let it come up, it's not gonna contact. So I think we'll be okay on that. And then I also trimmed a little bit more up in here because it was kind of hitting the hinge. I did a little bit on that side, but I'm gonna have to do the rest once the door's off, which obviously I gotta take that one off anyway because I gotta do the hinge, or I gotta weld onto the hinge for the bracket for this, which I actually got today. Yeah. I've been doing a lot of grinding to get it where it is now. It's pretty even on both sides now. This gap is about the same right here, which is almost touching the windshield across here until it gets bigger where the windshield wiper is going to be. So I don't know if I can go much lower. I mean, realistically, the only way I can go lower is if I was to get rid of this hole up here and then probably, take this thing down to like here or something to get it to close this gap, which it's not that bad. I mean, like I said, all the ones I've seen look the same. Plus, it does match the gap going all the way up here. So there's that. So it might just have to stay that way. This side, like I said, it's pretty close. This side, it was starting getting real thin right here. There wasn't as much fiberglass. So I'm definitely gonna have to reinforce this because it's real kind of flimsy here on the edge. So I'll have to fill that in a little bit more, especially on the back side if there's not enough on the back side. But it's basically same gap. So yeah, I think that's gonna have to work. Okay, so now I'm here working on the shroud. Just kind of set it in there, kind of lowering the hood down on it so you can kind of see what I got going on. So that's contacting pretty hard right there. So I'm thinking, realistically, the best plan is to cut the shroud because I'd rather cut that than cut the hood. So I'm guessing that's why those weird spots are kind of half filled in, is probably those are meant to get cut out. So I suppose I'm gonna cut those out and then see kind of where we stand. Okay, I think I got it. There's a couple spots where it might be just barely touching, but for the most part, I think we're good. I need to test fit the radiator in here still to see how we're gonna look with that. I'm kind of worried about like up in here, whether it's gonna touch the bottom of the headlight bucket. This side I'll be fine because the radiator neck's on the bottom. I don't know yet. We will find out. I guess I'm just kind of setting it in there for the moment. It obviously, those pegs in the bottom, I think I'm just gonna have to drill holes in the floor to like let it sit down in there because clearly there's yeah, it's not gonna work. It's sitting up too high. So I'm not entirely sure like hood clearance yet. So I guess I'm gonna have to mount. I think what I might do is I might drill the holes for the shroud, mount the shroud, and then I'll at least know like kind of where this is supposed to sit center, and then I can kind of guesstimate on the radiator to put it down in there. Yeah, I think that's the next step. So I went through and I drilled these holes out, and then I drilled these holes and put some nut certs in there, some 6x1s. Got it about as even as I can. Now I've just got some bolts in here to kind of center it because those pins that are sitting underneath, I don't know if you can be able to see this. I made a mark there and then a mark on the other side where it's really tricky to get in there with a pen, but I think I'm just going to, you know, drill those holes out, make some holes just a little bit so it sits down just a tiny bit so that this will sit flush, and then it'll be kind of, you know, it won't be able to move back and forth, and then it'll be bolted on the top, and then hopefully that'll be good enough. If it sits down too far, maybe I'll put something underneath, maybe like some rubber or something, but I mean, realistically, it probably doesn't need it, but I don't know. Let's see what we can accomplish. Okay, so originally I just kind of wanted to put some indentations, but it kind of got to the point I had to put a hole in it. And then I had to kind of waller the hole out a little bit because even though I took measurements, it still wasn't quite straight, so now it is. So now let's throw the fiberglass back on, see where we're at. Okay, so now it isn't binding up. However, it is sitting a little bit too low, which kind of doesn't surprise me, which basically means I just need to put some sort of rubber spacer on the bottom to keep it from going so low. And then, I mean, it should be right where it needs to be. Okay, I got some little grommets on there. I think these will work. There's just enough sticking out of there that it'll index. And then once it gets a little bit of weight on it, obviously it'll compress. So I think that's gonna work. Let's find out. All right, I think that's gonna work. Just got one bolt on each side, just kind of holding it in. It's pretty sturdy. And then I found this hardware. This is what was meant to go on there. This is one of the fans. I think that's gonna be one of the next things I'm gonna tackle, because there's like the holes that just need to be drilled out basically. They did send me the hardware for that, which is nice, but I think what I'm gonna do first is close the hood, make sure it clears, and then I'm gonna take the shroud back off and drill those holes, get the fans on. Well, that doesn't fit the best. Let me show you why. You can see the hood is sitting up right now, and that's because the radiator is actually hitting the hood. It's not even the shroud anymore. You can see it's hitting right there on that corner and on this corner. So I guess I'm gonna have to start seeing what I can do about trimming the inside of this headlight bucket, which obviously it goes into here, but this is a really, really thick piece. So I might be able to get by with, you know, not trimming a whole lot. I don't know. We'll find out here in a second. Okay, so now you can kind of see what I got going on. Basically, these little green marks that I got, this is the front of the radiator, this is kind of the side, which is basically, as you can see where I cut this out, it's kind of, that's the whole problem, it's sticking above. This is actually double layered here, so I think I can get away with cutting a decent amount out of there. Obviously, I don't want to cut too far because then I'll be into the headlight area. I mean, if I have to, I can always fiberglass it in a different way because the headlight is going to sit here, so it's not in the way of that. So if I had to, I could fiberglass that whole area in and not worry about it, but it's less than ideal. And you can see on the other side, it's basically the same situation. So I guess I'm going to start cutting and see what I can figure out. All right, I think we're good, guys. There's, as I'm gonna show you in a second, I end up cutting a lot more than what you just saw 2 seconds ago with me, that little square. Yeah, it was a lot more that I had to cut, but as you can see, I'm covered in fiberglass, but yeah, it clears now. Yeah. All right, this one probably doesn't look too much different because it's still kind of a square, but I did bring that out a lot more. This side is the one I had to cut a ton, and it's because of that radiator neck. It was actually clearing, but obviously it was so close, I couldn't put a hose on it if I needed to, which obviously I need to, so I had to cut all that area out of there. But it does fit now. So now I can finally pull the shroud out and mount the fans. Man, look at that, guys. This car is really starting to look like something. Got those fans and everything in there. Amazingly, all the holes I drilled actually lined up. the first time. I didn't have to grind them out. This fan didn't fit the best. On the bottom, I had to grind a little bit on the plastic, a little bit on the fiberglass, but it really wasn't too much, and then it just kind of fit. So yeah, I mean, they at least kind of did that right. I wish they would have, like, you know, done all this and this right, but I guess, I mean, I kind of get it, because obviously this is for various different applications. So yeah, show you guys with the hood down. Look at that. Awesome. Look at my clearances in here. They are tight, but we are clearing. Hell yeah. All right, guys, I think that's gonna be it on this one. Got the radiator in. Hell yeah. Got the doors clearance, got the windshield in. Man, guys, this thing's really coming together. Like, it's like starting to look like a car. I mean, obviously, everything's gonna have to come completely disassembled again for painting and sanding and all that stuff. It's really starting to look like a body shop in here. That's for sure, because like you can see on the windshield, everything is covered in fiberglass dust, like absolutely everything in here. And it's just gonna get worse, because there's a lot more to do with fiberglass work. It's like the whole car. But, you know, it's nice to know that the radiator's in there, so now I can run those coolant lines possibly next time. I'm still kind of playing around with different ideas, and I won't really know how I'm gonna do it until I get to it, but my idea at the moment is possibly run it down the passenger side, because then it would even out the weight balance, or at least help, because obviously if you have a driver in it and no passenger, it's more left side heavy. So I don't know, it's an idea. You know, the shroud and the fans, it didn't fit with the hood. Like, obviously there's a lot of sanding and stuff that still needs to be done to smooth it out and make it look good, but at least that part's taken care of. I was actually very pleasantly surprised that the fans mostly fit, because I swear to God, it's very rare to find something on this car that actually fits. And it was nice to know that that double layer, I didn't have to cut into the headlight housing, so that's a big win. So, you know, when I get to the headlights, I don't have to worry about that. But yeah, guys, I think that's gonna be it. So, like, subscribe, do the things you already know. Peace out.